July 10th, 2013. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 24 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and Dr. Mike, welcome back.
Hello. Thank you.
Mike has just returned from a trip to Lake Tahoe.
Yep. Harrah's. We stayed at Harrah's.
Nice. We're going to be talking about that extensively during the show. But first, we want to talk about something that's going on at Atlantic City at the Revel. And a lot of listeners have probably already heard of this promotion that they're doing. First of all, the Revel is the newest hotel and casino in Atlantic City. And I remember the initial reviews were very positive. Said it was very nice. In fact, we've never been, but your brother went, right?
My brother went, yeah.
And he was going on about how nice it was. What have you. But they recently declared bankruptcy. I think it was back at the early part of the year they declared bankruptcy.
It's brand new and it's so luxurious and they go bankrupt.
Well, the problem, there are a lot of problems. First of all, the economy, I guess you could say, right?
Bad time.
But second of all, I think this is the biggest thing, is that these days people in the Northeast have a lot more choices when it comes to casinos than they used to. You know, back when Atlantic City legalized gambling in the 70s, it was the only thing you could play unless you were going to go to Las Vegas.
Right. There were no Indian casinos.
Right, and now they've got their casinos like in Pennsylvania and, up in Connecticut. And so, there are a lot more choices for people. So I think that's one reason. But it sounds like another reason was because they were kind of positioning themselves as like a resort, and they were not really emphasizing the gambling as much. And when you're a hotel casino, the casino's really
that's
what brings
what
in the
holds
money.
them up. Yeah.
So they declared bankruptcy earlier this year, and as kind of a comeback, a recovery from the bankruptcy, they came up with this promotion. They sent out a press release and they said, we made some mistakes in the past, but here's what we're going to do. The month of July is going to be the You Can't Lose month. And the promotion says that all losses that you incur on slots during the month of July.
Just slots.
Slots and video poker. So any machine.
Okay, any machine.
No
table game losses.
No table game losses, right? Any losses that you incur at a machine. And when they first announced this, it was like, well, does it apply to video poker? Yes, it applies to video poker. Any losses that you incur in July, they will give you back as a loss rebate in the form of free play. Up to $100,000. Which is huge. $100,000, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. But it's just in free play. It's not in actual dollars.
Right. They don't give back to you in dollars. And here's the other catch, too, is that the rebate would come in 20 equal amounts over the course of 20 weeks. So if you lost $100,000 in July, starting in August, and once a week for the next 20 weeks, you could pick up $5,000 in free play.
So this would only be good for somebody who's local, lives in the area, and can go every week.
Right. For the most part, you would think that. I mean, when you think about all the amount of time that it would take, it'd only be for locals.
Right.
But some advantage players, started thinking about this, and hey, this seems like a pretty good deal. Maybe it would even be worth my while to fly to Atlantic City for 20 weeks, once a week,
right,
to maybe pick up these rebates. And plus, maybe you could arrange it where, you show up right on the cusp of the end of one week and the beginning of another week.
Right. So get both weeks.
Right. If the week ended like at Sunday at midnight, you get there and pick up Sunday night for the previous week and then Monday morning for the, the next week. And you'd only have to go 10 times, right?
And I guess if you're playing video poker too, so the free money you get back in, slot play or video poker play, you could probably expect to get 80% of that. Let's say you lost 100,000, you get 100,000 back. You could probably expect to recoup, 80,000+ of that in video poker play.
Well, really, you should expect to get back whatever the return on the game is, right? So if you're playing a 98% game,
right,
you should get back $98,000.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get that in a slot machine.
But, not in a slot, right. But yeah. So Michael Shackelford, who runs the Wizard of Odds website, ran the numbers on this to determine the best way to play this from an advantage play point of view. And he determined that if you are playing this, you want to play a high denomination video poker machine with high variance. And at Revel, they have $25 double-double bonus video poker, which has pretty high volatility. And he determined that you should play it during July as fast as, as much as you can, full coin in, right? So $125 a hand. And stop if you win about $160,000 or if you lose the whole 100,000,
gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
That the stop point should be about $160,000. And he didn't figure in how much it would cost to time-wise, like going in and playing
right.
and having to go back for 20 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever it was. It was just,
right.
If you could do it, do it.
If you could do it. If somebody had the time.
Right, exactly. He determined that if you took if you played this way, the expected return on this is a little over $40,000.
Nice.
$40,000 play. Now, that's not guaranteed that you're going to hit the 160,000. You may end up, having to go in for the rebate. But then when you get the rebate back, you don't have to play the high volatile double-double bonus. If they have like 9-6 jacks or better, you could play that on your free play.
Right.
But overall, the return is about $40,000. And he had Elliot Jacobson, who runs the AP Heat website, verify his figures, and they kind of agreed that was about it. Play till you win about $160,000 or until you lose the $100,000. So Mike Shackelford posted this on his Wizard of Vegas forum because somebody had started a thread on the subject, and they wanted him to kind of chime in on it. So he posted this. Well, shortly before July 1st, Revel pulled all of their high-limit slots.
Yeah.
They pulled all their $25 slots, and some people on the forum thought maybe it was Mike Shackelford's fault for posting this information.
Right.
And, the casinos, looking at this forum and saying, we don't want them to do it. I don't know that that's necessarily true. I don't think it is, but, it's possible that it was.
That's possible.
But, that's one thing. It's like, okay, the casino, it's their promotion. They can, if they're going to play that way, that's fine.
Well, I'm surprised they even allowed video poker to begin with.
Right. Yeah. Really.
I mean, seriously, I would have thought it would just be on slot machines, and maybe not even all the slot machines, maybe just selected machines.
Sure. I mean, yeah, if they want to do it that way. But their big slogan was, gamblers wanted. Yeah. They're making a big emphasis that, no, we want gamblers to come in.
And they can still say that and still rip you off.
Well, sure. Well, here's where it gets ugly. Once the promotion period started, July 1st, stories started coming in from players about being not banned, not backed off, but having their player's card deactivated and being told that, oh, I'm sorry, you don't qualify for this promotion. This supposedly after players had lost like 5 figures, in anticipation of playing this promotion.
Right.
Now, if that's true...
Now, what would their reasoning be? How could they tell you, oh, you just don't qualify?
Well, they shouldn't be able to. But, they just... I mean, I don't think they're giving these players any information at all. Just
so
like, no, we don't want your action.
We'll make the rules up as we go along.
Exactly. And if this is really what's happening, it's criminal.
Yeah.
And, I mean... if this really is happening where they just decide...
Well, you can get them for false advertising, for one thing.
Right. And I'm sure that there will be legal actions. But if they're really doing this, I hope they go under.
Yeah.
I mean, This is terrible. And it was when... It's funny because it was when people were losing and they, kind of caught on, oh, this is an advantage player. He's trying to take advantage of this. Yeah. Well, he's losing. He may lose the whole 100,000.
Yeah. Right.
It's infuriating if this is really happening. And, here they're saying gamblers wanted. What they really want is stupid gamblers wanted or
right.
Losing gamblers wanted, right?
Maybe that's in the fine print at the bottom of the sign. Actually, only stupid gamblers, please.
That's right. You have to take an IQ test to get by. Oh, my gosh. So anyway, this is kind of an ongoing story. And, I hope that the mainstream media kind of picks up on this because they did, to a certain extent, pick up on the promotion. Yeah. Saying, oh, Revel's doing this, for the month of July. And if people are really, being just told, hey, we don't want your action. We're deactivating your card. You can't play this promotion. That's terrible.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, what I don't understand, if your goal is to increase business so that, you can get out of bankruptcy or whatever, you want gamblers.
Yeah.
You want those people, the high limit players, right?
Yeah.
So now you're driving them all away.
Yeah.
So you're going to be left with nobody.
Well, and that's what I've heard too, is that the casino's still fairly empty.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's not hard to figure out why they're going bankrupt.
yeah.
I mean, management, pull your head out.
And so there were some other stories about service too, there as having poor customer service. And in fact, on the forum, a guy posted a picture. He was staying at Revel, and in a room, he called down to like the customer service. And he was on hold for 21 minutes.
Wow.
He posted a picture of the display on the phone showing, 21 minutes, just sitting there waiting in the room, actually already a guest there.
Wow.
So, I mean, it sounds like they've got a lot of problems.
I wouldn't wait 2 minutes. I mean, I'd be
I know,
so
really.
impatient.
Why would, but, I think it sounds like it's just a mess there. Here they came up with this great program, this great promotion, which they don't plan on, backing up.
Right.
Awful.
Oh, well, we'll get to see a nice implosion when they blow up the building. That's what I'm looking for. I'll be there for the implosion.
Oh, man. Well, all right. Let's move on to your trip to Lake Tahoe. So tell us all about the trip. And I tell you, I wanted to go. I would have loved to have gone with you on this.
Yeah.
The timing was terrible. It was kind of a 4th of July thing.
It was a 4th of July thing.
And,
it was a family thing for me, too.
Right,
because
yeah.
I took my wife and kids. My mom and dad went.
Nice.
My brother ended up coming from L.A.
Nice.
So, so we all went up on Wednesday, the 3rd, and drove. We actually drove from San Diego. It just worked out. It was going to be easier for all concerned to drive. My dad's got a scooter thing that he uses, and it was just easier to take that than try and get that on a plane and stuff. So,
and it would have been 6 of you, airfare for 6.
Airfare for 6, although they would have comped 2 of the airfares.
Well, but even if you flew up there, you couldn't fly direct to Lake Tahoe.
Right. That's another thing. You have to fly to Reno, and then Harrah's does have shuttle service from Reno to Tahoe, but it's like an hour drive.
Yeah.
And, it's just, you're going to sit in the car for all that time in the flight and everything, might as well just drive. And it's beautiful scenery.
Sure.
Anyone who's been up in the Sierras, it's kind of a nice drive. So we got up there on Wednesday, and just some of my first impressions, I've been there before, but it's been years. I mean, it was literally in the 80s, I think.
Probably
mid-80s.
me too. I can't remember the last time. Probably late 80s.
And the hotel's the same. It's old. It's still old.
Yeah.
But, it was kept up pretty well. The rooms were really nice. I was telling Mark here that, I like that they had 2 toilets in our room. So,
that is always nice.
It's always nice.
Same bathroom or 2 separate bathrooms?
2 separate bathrooms.
Nice.
2 separate bathrooms with 2 toilets.
And this is Harrah's, right?
This
the regular
is Harrah's,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Yeah. Harrah's and Harvey's. Harrah's, I guess, bought Harvey's some years back, and they're right across the street from each other. And what's great about that too? They have an underground walkway. So you go down an escalator in Harrah's, and you're walking across the street, but underground.
I remember
and you
that
come
now.
up and you're right in Harvey's.
Nice. Yeah, that's
it's
right.
really nice. And they had blackjack tables under the ground in between the 2 casinos.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, there were people gambling as you're walking by.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a little old, but it's nice. The one funny thing is being the older casinos, they have those low ceilings, remember? And it really gets kind of smoky. And, And, I don't know, it's a little dingy. The lighting on the craps table was a little hard to see. Like, you could see your side, but the other side was kind of dark if the light didn't hit it just right. So reading the dice was weird at times. But overall, the casino was very nice. So we get there. We go to check in, and I was on they have these 7 stars excursions. So I was there for this 7-star excursion where you get the fireworks show and a meal and you get a gift and all kinds of stuff. And I checked in, and the lady said, well, we don't have you down for the 7-star excursion, even though I had a form when I had made the reservation from one of the casino hosts there, who said that I was there and that I was going to get rebated my plane flight and everything. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, I explained to
But they had your hotel reservations.
They had the hotel room and everything. They just didn't have it as a 7-star trip.
Oh, okay.
The yearly trip that we get.
Yeah.
So the lady I spoke with, Michelle Fultz, and her nickname was Mickey, the casino host, she was excellent. Another Harrah's employee that's just went out of their way to make everything right. She was an excellent host. Anyway, she said, well, you didn't fly, so, why give up the $1,200 in airline fee? I'll just give you everything that you would have got. So the rooms were comped, and we got the access to the party, the 4th of July party, and the fireworks show, and the free gift that they gave. And so basically got everything I was supposed to get, just didn't get it taken out of my yearly trip.
So you still have a yearly trip
So I still have a yearly trip.
Nice.
Yeah, I can still use a yearly
nice.
trip, which is nice. So that's, how easy they made it. I mean, and it was sold out. So they could have very easily said, hey, sorry, we're sold out. We realize you're a 7-star, but blah, blah, blah. But no, they went out of their way.
Good.
So, so it all worked out good. The fireworks show was excellent. It was on the roof of Harvey's, on the roof of their parking structure. Mm-hmm. So there was about 1,000 people up there. They had tables out. They had tons of stuff for kids, like jumpies and face painting.
Were there a lot of kids?
Balloon stuff. There were a ton of kids. Yeah, there were probably a good 300 or 400 kids up there.
Yeah, okay.
And then a lot of like big kids, like 16-year-olds who were getting their face painted and stuff like that. But anyway, the fireworks were set on the lake, and they were set so they faced this parking structure. So it was like they were coming at you. And it was all set to music. So all the local people and everything could see the fireworks from around the lake. They were all crammed sitting around the lake. But Harrah's is the one who puts them on. So they were really, like right in your face for the Harrah's people, which was excellent. And so the kids really enjoyed that. And it lasted like almost 30 minutes of continuous fireworks. It was one of the best I've seen.
Nice. I watched fireworks from our deck out in the backyard. Mm-hmm. They were about 10 miles away, and the trees were kind of covering them. And so really all I could do was kind of hear them and couldn't really see them.
Yeah.
I had some hot cocoa. It was nice.
And then did you go down in the casino and play craps afterwards?
So what did you do?
So anyway, it was a pretty nice trip. One thing I'll note real quick, we ate at the steak place at Harrah's there, and it's called Friday Station, and steak and seafood grill, and it was excellent.
Good.
And we had a really nice dinner there. As a matter of fact, my wife said it was probably one of the better steaks she's ever eaten.
Good.
So I highly recommend that place. Little bit pricey. But if you get it comped, might as well do it.
You might as well. That's true with anything in life. You get it comped, just do it.
One of the nice things, too, they had $5 craps tables, which doesn't really affect me, but my brother, who's also a big craps player, he likes a $5 table or a $10 table.
So they had $5 tables like during the...
They had $5 all on Wednesday. All Thursday day. Now, Thursday in the evening,
which was the 4th.
Which was the 4th, right? They did not. The cheapest was 15. Or no, 10. They had a 110 and 3 15s and a 25.
Even so. I would have guessed higher. I would have guessed on you'd
at
least have 15 or 25, for a big night like that.
There
That's
were some
good.
10s. And then on Friday, the day after the 4th of July, they went back, they had 5s and 10s.
Nice.
So it's nice. They had 5 tables there. 4 regular craps and 1 crapless craps.
Wow, at a Harrah's or at a Caesar's property, a crapless crap. I didn't know any of them had crapless craps.
I looked at the dealer and I said, this is right back to, Bob Stupak's Vegas World.
Yeah, I think he created it.
He did.
That was
he created it.
Vegas
and
World.
they laughed and they were like, yeah, he was the creator of that Vegas World. But crapless craps. So I did play a little crapless craps.
Okay, good.
And, hated it. But I played anyway just to check it out.
Yeah, it's always fun when you come out on a point of 2.
Right. Yeah.
Points 2.
I mean, if
roll a 2 shooter.
You do get paid well if you hit it. But
right. Just to let everybody know, we're talking about crapless craps. It's a game where, any number except 7 can be the point. So if on the come out roll, it's a 2, a 3, an 11, or a 12, that can become the point.
Yeah, right.
And there's no don't pass.
There's no don't. Some kid came up and he was, where's the don't pass? And he wanted to play don't pass. And they were trying to explain to him, it's crapless craps. 3 can be your point. Well, how come there's still no, he didn't quite get there's no.
No, yeah.
Well, what would you be betting against?
The reason crapless craps is so bad, it's the problem is, it's like, oh, now 2, 3, and 12, they're not necessarily losers. You could win. That's true. But 11, which is, an automatic winner, is now a probable loser.
Right.
Because the chances of rolling an 11, as your point, is rough.
Right. And you don't win on an 11 come out. You only win on 7.
Were there a lot of people playing crapless craps?
Actually, 4th of July night, packed.
Yeah.
I mean, all the tables were packed.
Okay.
There were a lot of young people in the casino in the evenings. During the day, it was like elderly city. I fit right in.
Good.
But at night, it was like, 24-year-olds everywhere. So they were playing crap. Yeah, there were a lot of people. That table only opened up in the evening.
Okay.
Another thing that I noticed that we're not used to anymore, but we used to regularly see is boxmen. They had a boxman at every craps table. And, at Rincon, they don't because they have...
they have to have a stick man and a card turner.
And a card turner. So they have 4 dealers.
Right.
And then a lot of places in Vegas, even at Caesars.
Yeah, you're right. You don't see boxmen as much as you used to.
The dealers just run the table.
Yeah. A boxman now, for those who aren't familiar, is typically not a dealer. He's usually there in a suit like the pit boss. Right. And he sits there at the table and just kind of oversees everything.
Right. And I do like boxmen, actually, because it takes away a lot of the disputes and stuff, like somebody says, oh, I made this bet or blah, blah, blah. And the boxman, no, we didn't book it. We didn't see it.
Right.
That's done.
Right.
And, it just gets rid of a lot of the nonsense. Whereas the dealers, when something like that comes up, they used to have to usually call a pit person who has to come over, who wasn't sitting there the whole time.
Right. Who has to have the story explained to them.
And they have to kind of figure out who was right and who was wrong.
Yeah.
Another thing, they had a fire bet, just like, the other, Caesar's Palace properties, but they only let you go to $5 as a player. So we're in Las Vegas, it's mostly 10. I know at Rincon it's 5.
Right.
But up there it was 5 as well. And it's funny because the dealers can have an aggregate up to 5. So if there's 16 people on the table and everyone put $1 for them, $16, they would put 5 on the fire bet and the rest would just go in the tote box.
Oh, so the most the dealers could have on the fire bet up for the whole table was $5.
$5, right?
Oh,
and so I was putting a $5 bet for me and a 5 for them, and they would just put that up there, and then everyone else they would just drop in the tip box.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's funny they would. Why not?
Well, they don't want the dealers winning $16,000 when all 6 numbers hit.
Well, first of all, it doesn't hit that often. Second of all, it's their own employees. You'd think they'd want to have that happen,
I
don't know. I went over to Harvey's. I only played there for maybe about a half hour, if that, half hour, 45 minutes max. And I just didn't have a good experience there. It was 4th of July night because we came down from the fireworks. So we stayed there and played.
Okay.
And it was packed. I mean, literally packed,
well,
wall
sure.
to wall. And it's a much smaller, more cramped casino. So it really, I just hate being cramped. I know we've talked about that before, but it was funny though. I was waiting to get on a table and there was a guy who was playing with, he had 2 full racks of $100 chips. He had at least $20,000 in front of him. And he was explaining to 2 young guys who were standing next to him. And I don't know if they knew him or they were just talking to him, but he was explaining to them how money management was the key to craps. And he was so good at it because he was playing the don't. And the dice were going his way to a T. I mean, it was like, come out on a 9, roll a 5, roll a 6, roll an 8, 7 out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he just could not lose, and he was just raking it in. And he was laying odds, full odds,
right,
on everything, which I give him credit. He wasn't shying off a 6 or an 8. He would lay full odds.
Good.
And I think in the 15, 20 minutes that I watched him, he probably lost like 2 bets. Yeah. I mean, he won every other bet.
Yeah.
So he was just raking it in. But I was getting a kick out of him explaining to them how that was the smart way to play and everything. And at one point, one of the young guys said something like, what happens if they start making a lot of numbers? And he said, well, that's when you switch. That's when you switch to the other side. So evidently he has a crystal ball in his pocket.
That's when you switch. Yeah, that's great.
But he was so proud of himself that he, managing his money. And I turned to my brother and I said, if he's that good guessing when they're going to switch or when things are going to happen and making the right move. He should never leave this spot. I mean, they're open 24/7. He'll be a billionaire by week's end.
That'll be your job. Just play professional craps. It's funny because he's playing the don't and it was going his way. He's talking about money management.
Right.
You could say the same thing if you were just playing the pass line in a couple of come bets and never increasing your bet. Yeah. That's what you did. You're just disciplined.
Disciplined.
That's not good money management. That's just the way you're playing.
Right. It's just the way you're playing. And he kept talking about money management, making a big deal out of it. And, I wanted so badly to just say, are you full of crap or what? But, I'm not going to get into it with anybody. I just stood there.
That would have been a good ending to the story. Are you?
Well, I'll tell you a funny story now. So the next day, I'm at a table at Harrah's. A man walks up with four young men and this guy who was, probably like 60 years old. And I assume that these guys were like sons and son-in-laws because they all kind of looked the same and a couple, they were either his sons or son-in-laws. And what he did is he got a marker for $3,000. Mm-hmm. He kept $1,000 for himself. He gave each boy $500. So it just turns out they bought in and someone was shooting and the guy finished shooting and then the dice came down to them. And they were on one side of a table, all 5 of them lined up. Well, in the course of their rolls, the dad and 2 of the boys had great rolls. I mean, not just good, but great rolls. And the other 2 boys had immediate 7-outs.
Okay.
Now, they all played the same. The dad was teaching them. I got the feeling that the boys really didn't know much about craps. They were just doing what the dad did. But what he was doing is he took a pass line bet with full odds, and then he took a come bet every time.
Every time, okay.
Every time. He didn't take 2 numbers or 3 numbers. He had a come bet every time.
Okay.
But he rolled first, the dad, and he had a great roll. And so at one point, they had every number covered with it was a $25 table.
Wow.
So they only had $500 too.
Right, that's not $25 table. $500 is not enough to play for a while.
It's not enough to play for a while
right away.
But the first guy they shot was the dad, and he had this great roll, and they had 25 with full odds, and then towards the end of his roll they were betting 50 on the come, and so they had 50 with full odds. They had every number covered. Then the second guy was an immediate 7-out, but they didn't lose too much because they just lost the odds.
Right. Because
it's perfect for them.
They have no numbers up there other than the point.
Right.
And they win their comeback.
So it covers their pass line, so all they were losing were their odds.
Remember, this is how we tell people to play. We don't say bet a comeback every time.
Right.
But when we
usually have them take 2 or 3 numbers.
2 or 3 numbers. And we've said this before, do as we say, not as we do.
Right.
Because we don't necessarily play that way.
I don't play that way.
But it's a good way to play.
That's why in these guys' rolls, these 5 rolls, I won, but not as much as they did. They cleaned up.
Oh, well, you must have gotten...
I was up on hard ways.
Well, the immediate 7-outs.
The immediate 7-outs killed me.
They
because,
hurt you, yeah.
Yeah, I had 170 inside and $50 pass line bet with full odds and then immediate out. Yeah. So I would lose when the immediate 7 came. I would lose the money I won for the other guy's roll.
Yeah.
So I was kind of back and forth, and over the 5 rolls, I did win a bit, but not as much as they won. Anyway, the third guy had a great roll, then an immediate 7-out, then the last guy had another great roll. And I mean, they weren't good rolls. They were great rolls where they made lots of numbers. So they ended up cashing out. The second guy to shoot, he was a little more aggressive than the other boys, and he turned $500 into $4,000.
Wow.
In 5 rolls, five shooters.
Wow.
And the dad had a little over 4,000. And then the other 3 boys were in the 2,500 to 3,500 range.
Right. So
and they did their rolls, they cashed out and left. And here's the best part of the story. When they left, they got all their money. The dealer, they had to cash each one of them out, right? The table slowed down. The dad turned to all 4 boys and he said, "Now don't forget the dealers." Each boy threw $100 out for the dealers and
great.
The dad. So the dealers got a $500 tip, which they were excited about.
Sure.
But each boy, and the dad told him, and my wife turned to me and he said, "Now that's a good dad. I mean, tip your dealers, right?"
Yeah.
I mean, because they could have easily walked away. They weren't even there that long.
Right.
So, so it was great. Now, the thing about that, and the reason I told this story is because put them in contrast to the guy who's over there betting the don't, talking about money management, right?
Right.
It went just as well for them, if not better, playing the exact opposite. It's just timing.
Yeah. Now, see, that would have been the best ending to the story is the guys throw out their $100 tips And then the dad says to them all, now that's money management, boys.
He was a nice guy. I don't think he was going to say anything about money management. He looked like he knew what he was doing, and he knew they caught it just right.
Sure,
and they were betting perfectly
for
what happened.
Yeah.
And it was funny. I had hard ways out. They rolled very few hard ways.
Yeah.
I mean, they rolled a few, but very few. I mean, it was mostly, and there weren't a lot of craps or anything. It's just like, 5, 9, 8, 4, 10, 5, 9. It was just tons of numbers.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was great. And just a few more things I'll tell you real quick. One of the things was they have a big wheel at Harrah's there.
Good.
Which we talked about on a previous podcast.
Yep, the dying big wheel.
The dying big wheel is
and
there.
Was it open?
It was open, and there was a dealer at it. Yeah.
Was anybody playing it?
No. I went by like 3 times, and there was never anyone playing
Even though it was a crowded...
It was a crowded casino with a lot of kids.
Yeah.
They kind of have a club, a dance area, and there were a lot of kids who were dancing and stuff.
Kids
kids like 24, 25 years old. Young adults. Yeah, not kids, little kids. Yeah. Kids to me, but right. And the other thing was they have Keno in the cafe there.
Yeah.
And so we played Keno at every meal. And my daughter, I had both of my daughters, even though they're 7 and 9, I had them pick Keno numbers. And the Keno lady saw me and I said, "Oh, is it okay if they just check the numbers?" She said, "I didn't see anything." So
good for you, Mike.
Yeah, they picked out the Keno numbers and I gave them their winnings. I paid their ticket that they won. And my youngest daughter, at the very first thing, I had her fill out a 20 spot, and she got one number.
Really?
One
nice.
number. And the funny thing is, she's only 7, so I told her mark 20, and she had marked 21.
Okay.
So the lady brought the ticket back and said, "Oh, she marked 21. Cross one out." Uh-huh. And I said, "Which one should we cross out?" And there were 2 on the right side, and she said something like, you pick. And so my brother, it was like 80 and 20. Mm-hmm. Or 80 and 10. It was 80 and 10. And my brother said, "Cross out 80. So I crossed out 80. Well, 10 was the one that came up. If we had crossed out 10, she would have won $1,000.
Oh man. So how much did you win?
I think for one, she got, it's not that much.
No.
It's like $15 or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it was 15, and then 2 was $7.50, and 3 was your money back, 5, and then 4, 5, 6, you don't win anything.
Right.
So she got like $15 or something. And, but we played at every meal that we ate at the cafe. We ate breakfast there basically all 3 days. So and she gave my brother the hardest time. She kept telling him, "You owe me $1,000. You owe me $1,000." Because he picked the wrong one.
Was she really going to pick 10 though? Or?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Yeah.
But she kept telling him, "You owe me $1,000." Yeah. Another interesting thing. Oh, and by the way, the Keno lady, we talked about Keno, and she said, "Yeah, we're the only Keno game in Lake Tahoe." That's left. The other casinos don't have it. There's 4 casinos. The other 3 didn't have Keno, live Keno.
Right.
And she said, "It's a dying game." And I was laughing because we talked about that on the podcast. Another dying game.
Yeah. I'd hate to see it completely go away.
Yeah. Oh, it was fun.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, when we were eating and I was playing it, I realized how much I missed it.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, you lose $40-$50 while I'm eating, but it's like, it was so much fun waiting for those numbers to come up.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing was while we were at the fireworks show, we just randomly picked a table to sit at to eat. Mm-hmm. So there's 7 of us, and there's like 4 other people. Turns out these 4 people are Rincon players.
So they live
up in Lake Tahoe. They live in Scripps
here?
Ranch, the community right next to where I live.
Right.
And they're Rincon. They're slot players. I didn't know them, but the guy was like, we were telling him about the podcast. He was real interested. He said, "Well, I'll look for you out at Rincon next week." I said, "Okay, I'll probably be there." So anyway, that was interesting. And I'll tell you one last story. My father had lost the money he brought. He brought a couple $1,000s, and he was pretty much down to nothing.
What was he playing the whole time? Just 3-card poker?
He was, about 80% of the time 3-card poker, about 20% craps.
Okay.
And then
no blackjack?
No, he didn't play any blackjack at all. And he had decent luck at 3-card poker. He had a few straight flushes, and a couple times he had trips, and he'd go up. But, if any of you out there know my dad, he sits at the table the whole time. We went and did other things around Lake Tahoe. We went on, sightseeing things and did stuff. He stayed at the table.
Yeah.
I mean, one day he must have played 16 hours
Yeah.
out of 24 at a 3-card poker table. So time ate him up. But anyway, he was down, and so my brother put gave him $100. And my dad went over. My mom was playing a penny slot machine. So my dad sat on this machine next to her, put his $100 in there. He was playing, and he was doing pretty well. He was up some, and you know, the way the penny slot machines work, you're not really betting a penny. I mean, you're playing
Right.
like, you know, you're actually betting like $3 or $4 or $5 a pool.
Right, because you're betting like multiple lines, like 30 lines, and like 10 cents each line. Or,
right. Yeah. So you can bid up to $3 or $4 at a time. And anyway, he's playing the max that you can play. And they have all these different symbols. I don't remember what machine it was. It was one my brother likes to play, and he was telling him about it. So anyway, he ended up pushing the thing full amount and got certain amount of symbols, a certain symbol that pays the progressive jackpot. There's a progressive thing, which was $11 million. He was one symbol shy of $11 million. And that's all he could talk about. One symbol shy of $11 million. And it ended up getting like almost $600. It was 5 something for that one push.
Yeah.
You know, which, so you put in $3 in a penny machine, you get almost $600. He was pretty happy because all of a sudden he had money again.
Yeah.
But he was one symbol away from 11 million. So we're
Was he
never
angry?
going to hear the end of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's never going to go back there.
He
won 600. Were there any rules that you saw up there that were really different from Las Vegas or anything?
No, they had 6-5 tables. They also had 3-2 tables at blackjack.
For blackjack.
Yeah.
But did you get some free play when you went?
Oh yeah, I did get 1,000. Was it 1,000? Yeah, $1,000 in free play.
And
I played it on. I actually played. I looked for 9-6 video poker machines.
Right.
And you had given me the location of them.
Yeah, because I went on to vpfree2.com,
Right.
which we talked about last episode.
And I went to the exact spots where it said it would be. I looked all around. There weren't even video poker machines in that spot. And then I asked, like, you know, they might have moved them.
Yeah,
or,
I mean, you know, the website, who knows how
knows?
often it's updated, yeah.
Right. But anyway, I asked 3 slot people
Right.
who were working the floor there. And one lady, she didn't have any. I said, do you have, 9-6 video poker? And she didn't even know what that was. And I mean, they were completely useless. I mean, there's some machines over there, some over there. Check those over there.
Yeah.
I couldn't find them after walking for a while. So I just played a regular slot machine. It was a machine my dad likes that's like a Wheel of Fortune type thing.
Right.
And actually did pretty good on that. So I said 1,000. I'm sorry. It was $500.
Okay.
And I think we cashed out for $431.
Oh, not too bad on a slot.
On a slot, yeah. So it wasn't bad. My wife played that. I gave her that, and she played it and cashed out for $431.
You didn't? Did you have the option of getting in table play?
Yeah. On that one, no.
Okay.
It was just a coupon thing.
Oh,
it was
for slots. Yeah.
For slots, and it was good July 1st through the end of the year, so it was perfect timing for me.
Well,
it's just something that came in the mail.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay, good. And then how about the drive home?
Drive home was good. It was a little slow.
Yeah.
It took us 9.5 hours to get there, and we stopped in Bishop.
On your way up, when you went up there.
On the way up, it took 9.5 hours. We stopped in Bishop for about 45 minutes to visit a friend, and it still only took 9.5 hours. On the way back, we stopped, for gas and food and stuff, but it took like 12.5 hours to get back.
Yikes. Ouch.
Yeah, there was bad traffic getting out of Tahoe, and then Sacramento there was bad traffic, and just all along the way. And then we came home a different way. We went up 395. We came home on the 5.
And why'd you come back on 5?
Well,
because 395 is more of a direct route, isn't it?
It's kind of, yeah, it is. I mean, the computer tells you that it's only about a half-hour difference either way. But we came back on 5 because my brother lives in Los Angeles and my mom rode with him.
Oh, okay.
Just so she could spend more time. And so we went to
That's right, because he met you up there. Okay,
he met
that's
us
right.
up there going up there.
Okay,
he went up 5.
Okay,
and going up there, he had no problems. He got there in 7 hours from his house.
Yeah.
So, but all in all, it was a good trip. And the best thing is, I actually did win.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
So, yeah, 3 days and I won. So,
yeah. How many hours do you think you put in?
Oh my gosh. I put in at least 7 or 8 hours a day.
Wow,
say,
okay.
playing.
Oh, that
So-
is good to come back a winner after
Yeah,
that.
so I got at least 24 hours. Yeah, I would go down in the morning after breakfast while the girls went swimming and stuff. And then we'd goof around in the middle of the day, and then I'd play at night. So I'd say at least 7 hours a day.
Wow, nice.
So 21 hours, and you end up a couple thousand ahead. That's not bad.
Good. Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, we're not going to have the poker home game segment this week because we've already come up on our 40 minutes. And Mike and I have found that if we talk more than 40 minutes, the ramblings get worse. We know we ramble anyway, and it's almost impossible to listen to us. You think it's bad now. Wait till we get past the 40-minute mark. It gets worse. So we're going to call it a night here. Hey, don't forget to email us with your questions, comments, questions and comments. Email us.
See what he means about the
See,
rambling?
I'm already there. Oh, boy. Good night, everybody. Our email address, you can bet on that, @gmail.com. And we've got a website where you download the podcast from. You can bet on that.com. You can check our show notes and leave comments. Also, follow us on Twitter. We always tweet when we're going to casino, and we're going to try to get in the habit of tweeting and giving you enough time to actually meet us there, rather than just tweeting saying, all right, we're here now, or we're going to be there in a half hour. But we always tweet when we're on our way to a casino or there. And Mike, how much are you giving away for the pass line bet if somebody meets us there?
Well, what was it up to before?
I think it was
40?
Maybe it was 40.
Yeah, I'm going to make it an even 50.
All right.
Not that 40 is not even, but
Yeah.
50 sounds nicer.
So 50 at like a plateau. Okay.
Yeah, $50. And you know what? You may not even have to put it on the pass line. You will have to play craps with me, but I'll give you $50. You sit there and play. If it's a $5 table, you can put 5 on the line and take odds. That's,
All right.
what
Nice.
I would recommend.
Good. So again, come up to us if we don't know you, but you have listened to the podcast and that's how you found out about us. Mike's going to give you $50 to bet with on the craps table. And we got a Facebook page, facebook.com/youcanbetonThat. And please review us on iTunes. You go to iTunes, you say, this isn't the worst podcast I've ever heard. It helps us get more listeners.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right, we'll see you next time.
See you later.